What if the life you're building looks wildly successful from the outside, but quietly feels unsustainable on the inside? What if the pressure that you're calling drive actually is erosion in disguise? We live in a world that worships hustle, glorifies exhaustion, and hands out medals for burnout like they're proof of character. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people refuse to face. If your success is costing your clarity, is costing your calmness, your relationships, or your sense of self, then what exactly are you actually winning at the end of the day? This Uncorked conversation is not about adding more to your plate. It's about questioning the story you're telling yourself about productivity, about pressure, and about performance, and whether that story is still serving you well or slowly suffocating you. Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Uncommodified podcast. I'm Tim Windsor, and my guest today is someone who's lived in that tension and turmoil that I just described and has chosen not to numb it, but to listen to it. My friend, Spencer Jones, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. What an incredible intro. Like I'm absolutely touched and you're 100% right. Like let's get out of running an autopilot like that and start questioning and just getting clarity on that so we could be at our best selves, living our life to the max, right? For our families, for us, for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, a bit about Spencer. Spencer is the founder of Jones and Four, which we'll talk about that. I love that name. And he's a transformational guide of high producing leaders who are doing everything right, but maybe still feel stretched thin, overloaded, and trapped in their worlds. Spencer helps people shift from that pressure-based productivity into calm, sustainable high performance where success finally feels as good as it looks and where you are encouraged to reclaim the center of your being. His work, it blends grounded strategy with inner mastery, and his story has something powerful to teach all of us about what happens when we stop performing our lives and we start inhabiting them. Now, this is an uncorked conversation, my friends, so we're going to just kick it off with a drink. Now, it isn't evening time, so probably not a scotch for me right now, but I'm going to have a cup of coffee. How about you?
A cup of coffee sounds beautiful to me. Right?
Excellent. Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers, cheers.
I like your mug. What's on your mug, man?
Thank you. So we went on an Alaskan cruise a couple years ago, and they had the Northwest or like Pacific Northwest Native American kind of drawings. I can't think of
Yeah.
paintings, things like that. So it's a drawing like that. It's a mama bear is what it's called. And so it's really
Wow.
just, I fell in love with it. I'm like, well, I have to have this. I love coffee as it is. And so this just made perfect sense.
That's awesome. You know what? I love Indigenous art. It is very, very powerful. And, in Canada, obviously we have a large Indigenous community and we're learning a lot about our Indigenous roots in Canada, which is really good for us. So it's pretty exciting. I love it. So
Agreed.
here's how I want to sort of start the conversation, Spencer.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, if you're listening in, I say you're listening for a reason. Spencer and I connected online, and I just sort of started tucking into Spencer's world and really loving what you were putting out there, and that just intrigued me. And then we got connected and we had a conversation, and I'm really grateful. I want to start by saying I'm really grateful that you're here, and I can't wait until we unpack what your journey is teaching you and what it might unlock for others. But I want to start with your email signature. Now,
Okay.
remember, listeners, we don't rehearse these conversations, so we just figure it out as we go. So the other day, you sent me an email, and for the first time, I don't know why, but I had this epiphany. I read your email signature at the end, and so I want to just put that out there, and we'll start the conversation there. So my email signature, I say cheers at the end of my email, and then I have, if it's my company email, it says igniting excellence since 1993. That's a bit lame. Your email signature says awaken your light, step into your power, shine bright. Okay, so let's have a conversation about your email signature, dude. Come on.
I was like, oh crap, I haven't looked at that one in a while. Like I see it every time I send
Yeah.
emails, but let me see what it says. And I'm glad you shared it as well. Uh, Email signatures are one thing that some people look at, some people don't, or they see it eventually. And why not have something inspiring? Like, yes, we have the website there. Yes, we could put something, but something that helps people step into their bold, authentic self and at least maybe even just start asking themselves, what does shining bright mean to me? What does
Hmm.
it awaken my light? Like, who the flip talks like that?
Hmm.
Right. And just like, oh, okay, I get it. I can conceptualize it, at least to a degree, but what does that mean to me? And so I wanted something fun, different, punchy, but yet also me, because that's how I talk. If you ever see me on stage at an event or anything, there's some point in there I say shine bright. Right? It's just it rolls out naturally. I don't have to plan it or anything. And it'll just awaken your light because we all have that beautiful light inside. Let's stop hiding it amid all the autopilot, the shame, the guilt, the walls, the facades, all the things we put up to be who we are with the world. Let's uncover that and just be your authentic self.
Yeah, I love it. And again, when I read it and read it more thoughtfully, I was like, okay, so if I have this call to awaken my light, then it might be sleeping. And if I have this call to step into my power, I have power, but I have to move towards it. And shining bright sounds like maybe that's sort of the culmination or the gift that comes when I awaken and I step in, then I begin to shine brighter. So I really love it. So let's talk about your journey. How does Spencer get where Spencer is? Because you've got this really awesome world, and you're bringing some really amazing things to people, encouraging them about joy and about living life in a way that brings impact, but also brings sustainable energy for you as you do it. I mean, this is really awesome stuff. But I imagine you didn't just one day go to school and say, "Hey, I'm going to take a course on that." How did you get where you are today, and what brought you here, Spencer?
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking. And just before we get into it, you are so much more poetic than I am. Even just breaking down the signature on my email, I'm like, dang, I'm just gonna have you do all of these, all the poetic like translations, and it's like, oh, here's what it means, because
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
stumbling over it. But thank
Okay.
you.
Well, by the way, I'll receive that. Thank you very much.
So about me and my journey. No, I didn't take a class. Although I would love to create a course class like this that people could take. Well, I mean, we have a program, I guess, but let's see how we can make all that work. For me, um, I'll try to condense it all down into a nice cohesive pathway. I was homeschooled from third grade up, professional trained pianist. Like I learned as a kid, went to college for music education. Piano was my main instrument. Loved performing, loved playing on stages, and I loved teaching in classrooms. I was a middle school, high school choir director, and my original goal, my original dream as a teenager was to write movie scores, right? The music behind movies.
Hmm.
And so I started composing music. I started college being a music composition major and started pursuing that, not teaching, but piano and composing. And then I was told that I need a real job if I was going to pursue my wife. I needed insurance, so I needed to basically not be an entrepreneur and get a job that has insurance. And I'm so grateful for my father-in-law. Grateful that he shared that he was doing what he thought was right and caring and all that. And I followed suit and did what I thought I needed to do, and I studied to be a teacher. And thank God, I fell in love with teaching. Loved middle school, loved high school, loved working with them. But it wasn't my passion totally. Like my wife, she's a fourth, fifth, and fifth grade teacher. She loves it. It's her passion. It's what she was born to do, and it totally fulfills her. I loved working with students, but there was part of it that just wasn't all of it. So I was an entrepreneur at heart from a young age, selling pumpkins and shoveling snow and mowing lawns and piano studio and variety of businesses throughout my years. And so as I was teaching, I started to gain weight because I was teaching and doing what I thought I needed to do, but I wasn't taking care of myself physically. So I started working out. People said, "Hey, you're really good at this. Why don't you coach others?" And so then I'm like, "Sure." So from coaching people with fitness, then it turned into more mindset work as I learned about personal growth. And I'm like, "Oh, I could have a positive, abundant mindset." And then that led me all the way up to understanding that everything is energy, everything comes from our inner self, and working there. But it's been a roller coaster to get to that point. So can I bring back a little bit of the story and weave the roller coaster for y'all?
Yeah, you can bring it back. We can come on back on that roller coaster later.
well,
I
I
mean,
well, I appreciate it. So the roller coaster is this. I remember the day I was 12 years old and I just wanted to be liked. I did ballroom dancing as a kid, and I guess I was 13. I was 13 because that's when I could finally sign up. 12, turned 13, and then my brother and I, who were doing the ballroom dancing class, the other kids, homeschool kids, they weren't accepting us in the group, so we were kind of the outsiders within it. And I saw that they dressed differently. They dressed more of that hippie style, plaid pants, striped dress or stuff that clashed and just hurt your eyes. And I'm like, well, okay. So I remember thinking, I'm so sick of this. I just want to be accepted by someone, by a group. And so I went to a thrift store, found clothes, and I was thinking, well, what would they wear? What would this person wear exactly? And put it on. Lo and behold, they started talking to me, and then they accepted me in the group, and they became my friends. And I was my friend group for the whole time I was there and into college. But that was a day that I essentially sold my soul, as it were, to fit in with somebody else,
Mm,
to try to be liked and accepted. And that was a continual journey for me. And over the years, that my ego started to play in, where I wanted to prove myself to the world. I was raised, loved my parents, I'm grateful for them, but they raised me with a lot of guilt and shame. So I kept trying to prove myself to the world. And so I wanted fame, I wanted money. So while teaching didn't bring me money, it could bring me fame, notoriety. So my students and my choirs did fun fundraising and different things out in the community, out and about, just so I could go anywhere and people would know my name. That was my sole intention. It might have had benefits for the community, for the kids, but my intention was, even though I didn't know it at the time, was to self-serve. And money, hopefully my businesses and different entrepreneurial activities would bring me the riches and all those different things. Well, this led me on this roller coaster of, oh, I'm having a good day, I'm having a bad day. Oh,
mm,
people like me, people don't like me. Oh, I learned the things about mindset. I can intentionally have a good day. So I started doing the activities, a lot of business, personal growth at first side of it, but then more personal side of, oh, here's how you can have a positive abundant mindset. Here's how you can work and manage your life. But it was very surface level. I was still trying to prove myself. It was this dissonance within my life that was creating chaos, but I didn't know what was happening. I just thought this is life, a roller coaster. I feel great, I feel like crap. I feel great, I feel like crap, or anywhere between. And it wasn't until I made some really stupid decisions in my life, chasing ego, trying to be liked, and all those different things, that I made really stupid decisions that led me to crash, hit my rock bottom. I was suicidal. I hated who I had become, who I was portraying out to the world. I didn't love me for me. I didn't know who I was. Talking about that light that we have inside, I put up so many walls and facades and shields up to protect me from the outside world and to fit in with the outside world or who I wanted to fit in. I didn't know who Spencer was. Like,
mm,
in all seriousness, like, Tim, do you like chocolate cake? Then I like chocolate cake. Do you like that TV show? Then I like it or not. Um, I remember I was terrified. We had our first housewarming party at our first house, obviously, and we had our housewarming party, and I had friends from college, friends from my work, and friends from like family. Family was there and stuff like that, and they all knew three different versions of Spencer, and I was
interesting.
terrified for them to talk to each other because I'm like, they, I'm very different people around each of these groups, and we all are to a degree, but it just it didn't click that that was me not being my true authentic self because I was so different amongst those groups, and all was fine. But it took me hitting my rock bottom to realize, oh, oh, I need to change, because when I hit rock bottom, it's like a bomb went off, all the walls, all the shields went away. I felt cold, alone. I had my wife and two or three friends, but that was it. I felt cold, alone, tired, and not sure what to do. And so I saw a therapist, and he validated a lot of the tools I had been using, which is great, and then added some more tools. But the difference is now they could take hold in fertile soil,
Mm,
right? Now that I can actually use them and build on that for myself. And while I was at rock bottom going forward, I realized, okay, like, I've learned the personal growth hacks, the strategies, of self-care, meditation, breath work, working out. It's all, a lot of those different things I've learned, and they helped. It helped me feel better in the moment, but a day later, a week later, I would feel like crap again, right? Hence that roller coaster of emotions. And so what I realized was they're not dealing with the internal operating system. Like
Hmm.
you can look at people who have been maybe meditating for 40 years, they know it, but they don't talk about it. At least I haven't seen or heard anybody actually talk about your internal operating system. The analogy I like to share to help wrap our heads around it is a coffee cup, right? So let's say you have a coffee cup and through no fault of your own, it's been poked full of holes throughout our lifetime.
Hmm.
And just the limiting beliefs, anger, resentment we have, the emotions that don't serve us, the relationships, things that are misaligned in our life are these energy vampires that are pulling and poking holes in our cup. So when we do self care, we pour it into our cup, it just leaks out,
Hmm.
right? So it feels good. I feel I feel refreshed, and then I feel drained. And so what I had to learn when I hit my rock bottom was, oh, here's a hole. Let's realize where that's coming from. Let's patch it up. Let's heal that. Great. And so this led us on this journey to create our energy sovereignty pathway, as we call it. Basically, it's 4 levels. The first level is recognizing the energy leaks in your life. So those holes and vampires in your life,
Hmm.
getting rid of them, plugging it. Second is your mindset. So reinforcing this cup. So now your cup is whole, it's reinforced. Those energy leaks, vampires are no longer an issue, or they're less and less of an issue at the very least. And then the third level is alignment. What's pouring into your cup? Is it stuff that's aligned with you, with where you're going, your purpose, your direction? Is it aligned? And also alignment within your body. Your body can't receive any of this stuff if it's in fight or flight.
Hmm.
So learning how to align your nervous system, calm it so you can receive all this. And then the fourth and final stage is radiate. So shining your light for the rest of the world in a way that your cup now, you're giving from a cup that overflows. So it never goes between 0 and 100. It's always overflowing. And knowing that if your cup gets at 100 or below, you stop. But the hope and goal is you are aware of it enough that it never stops overflowing. But
Hmm.
maybe you just need to help and adjust it at times.
Well,
So that
first of
was a
all,
hold on
I mean,
for you.
first of all, thanks for sharing that journey because that's obviously you've gone on this really powerful journey that's taken you to some dark places, and then you have found some things along the way.
Yeah.
But you've also begun to synthesize them and then began to shape them so that you could articulate them to others. And that, what I love about it is it's a very, very simple way of looking at things, but very powerful because to your point, I think a lot of times when we, whether it's in our personal lives or our professional lives, if we feel depleted, I don't think that our first sort of conscious thinking is we've got things that are draining us, or we got holes that allow this stuff to just
Right.
go through us like we're porous.
Uh-huh.
And so to your point, I think we start saying, well, I feel depleted. Let me add, let me add something else. If I just do this and I bring this in and I do this and I add and I add and I add. But the problem is if that stuff just continues to leak out through those other places, then that is a vicious cycle that we get into. And I can see that and I can appreciate that in my own life and I can appreciate that in the lives of others. And so energy, when we're looking at energy, when you're thinking about energy,
Uh-huh.
how 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 does that energy come to us originally? Do you think that we're born? So again, you and I haven't chatted about this, so I don't know sort of how you see this. But so are we born with as these energy containers that are relatively intact, and then somehow over time these things we get drained out, or do we acquire energy as we grow, or how does this all work? Do you think?
What a beautiful question. I would say, my belief is that we're going spiritual side of it is that we are energy beings having this human experience, right?
Okay.
So we get to carry this meat suit with us and have some fun experiencing this humanity and all that. Answering your question, I believe currently that we were born with all this, with an abundance of energy, right?
Hmm.
That cup, that fully intact cup, as it were. And then through our lives, we're taught different belief systems, different ways to think, and ideas and thoughts, etc., that then start poking holes into our cup and draining us. While some of it is helpful and beneficial to be humans, to fit in within a society, to fit the social norms, etc., some of those can be good and beneficial for our greater good of surviving. Some of them aren't so good, and we're taught to us because, or we perceived to be taught to us as a survival mechanism or ways that we should act.
Yeah.
but we're detrimental. So I think there's an abundance out there. There's always an abundance
Yep.
of energy, but it's learning to recognize what's not aligned and being able to get rid of that. So much we add so many things, as you said, and yet those can be good, but let's get rid of the things that don't serve you first, and then those things that you're adding
Yeah.
actually can be fruitful.
Yeah, no, that I know that's a really great way of putting it. So let me ask you, when you encounter somebody, let's say on the personal side, who's depleted in their personal life, or you encounter someone who's depleted not just in their personal life, but that's bleeding into their professional life, are you using the same models of engagement with them and just applying them different, or are you fundamentally approaching those in different ways, or do you just see that the professional is just a subset based on the personal?
Yes, yes, and yes. Can I answer that way?
Yeah, you can.
Uh,
You can.
because I think we're just this energy being. We're this person
Yeah.
who has these different roles: professional role,
Yeah.
personal role,
Yeah.
etc. It all bleeds over. Now, some take more precedence at different times, right? The business role, professional role takes more precedence at that time as opposed to the personal role, but they all bleed over.
Mhm.
And so, if you're struggling with the business side, the professional side of it, that is going to affect some of your family life to a
Mhm.
degree. And same thing if you're struggling in family life, it'll bleed over. It's the same framework to answer your question, actually. It's the same framework and idea of, okay, here's what it is. But now let's look at it within the context of your professional life or your personal life. And let's start drawing those strings, peeling the onion back and seeing what's causing that leak. Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, for either category or any of the categories you can base it in, you peel the onion back, it usually goes down to belief about you, who you are, like your identity
Yeah.
work and different parts of that for either side of it.
Yeah. And I think that identity thing too is interesting. And the way, what I love about this conversation, about these kind of conversations I get to have with people is I think in a lot of ways, sometimes we're brailing sort of at the same thing in different ways.
Mhm.
We're trying to get our hands on it. We're trying to touch it. And I'm approaching it maybe here and you're approaching it on this side and we're touching this thing. And as we start to describe it and articulate it, if we get below surface level conversations, I think in a lot of ways we're talking about the same things, but we're just coming at it in little different ways. So, for instance, for me, when you talked about your journey where you started to become much more, I would say, use the term commodified, and you needed to fit in. For me, I think about it in two ways. I think about what I would call the evil power of sameness. Okay, it's an evil spell that when we feel we have to be like everybody else, I think that's an evil spell. But I also think of it sort of like it's like this, it's the anesthetizing power of sameness. When we sort of take this into our veins and we become homogeneous and more ubiquitous, I think what it does is it anesthetizes us. It puts us to sleep. And to
Mm,
your point, maybe in your email signature, awakening, get waking up to something. And I think about the movie, the brilliant movie that Robin Williams did called Awakenings.
mhm.
What a powerful movie! I've often thought about. I think in sometimes in my life and the lives of others, we're actually sleepwalking. We're sleepwalking through our existence. We're not in the moment. We're not present. Um, we are depleted of all this energy. We're fundamentally always operating on this reserve battery that is just trying so hard to fuel us, but it's struggling. And to your point, if all we're going to do is all we need to do is take a battery that's leaking acid, like an older battery, and we're just going to keep charging it, that is really, really problematic because eventually you just can't get any juice in that thing anymore.
1000%. Again, you're more poetic than I am with all this, and so there's an abundance of energy. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this or word this. That there's an abundance of energy out there that we. Hmm. Okay, let me ask this question. I guess before I go into trying to figure that part out. how spiritualish do you want to get?
Listen, we on this podcast we go in all and sundry directions. So I always say to my listeners, you're listening for a reason, and I always say to my guests, the conversation we're supposed to have will find us. Okay,
Right.
so let's let the conversation find us.
Okay. So I appreciate that. And nothing, this isn't spiritual or religious.
Yeah,
It works all ways around because I'm
yeah,
like, great, however you are.
yeah,
Again, if we say that everything's energy from the breath we're thinking, the thoughts we're doing, the coffee we're drinking, all that, everything is energy, this field of energy.
yeah.
And if this is all energy, we're just manifestations, we're creations, the slower vibration of that energy having this experience. So I'm having this human experience, you're having this human experience. My life has changed through you, your life has changed through me, just by being here and recognizing it. And that goes for all 8 billion people in the world. And we get to have this expression. So saying all of that, well, then there's an abundance, a limitless amount of energy that we get to have in the world. And now we're depleted battery while I'm feeling drained because I'm have all these holes, quote unquote holes, that the energy is just leaking through. It's not energizing this physical body, this mind that we have because we put up all these barriers and we're sleepwalking. Well, when we as humans dream, right? We're asleep, but we're dreaming, we could do all these things. Why couldn't we just be having a dream as an energy being and that dream is this human experience?
Hmm.
I have
Okay,
no
now
idea if I agree with it or not. It's just a thought that as you said, I'm
you
like,
know what? That's okay,
that's
and that, by the
interesting.
way, I love it because I love to muse. I love if there was like a degree in musing, I would want to have a degree in music. You have a degree in music. I want a degree in musing.
I like it. And
Um,
I think you'd have a doctorate in it.
yeah, I
Beautiful.
love and I have this idea, Spencer, and for me, and I really believe in the power of perplexion.
Mm,
I think so often those moments that are just so catalytic in my own life, and I think catalytic in other people's lives, and hopefully for the people listening, it's the moment where we become more perplexed. Um, I know that we're often always we're seeking certainty, but we
right.
all know that that's not possible. I actually think that the greatest moments in my life come when I sit back, sort of rub my chin, and go, "I have no idea." I think in that moment of perplexion, and getting comfortable with being perplexed, and then musing and saying, well, but what if? What if we are this? What if this spiritual experience was this? What if this was true? Because what we start doing then is we start opening it up and awakening ourselves to the potential and possibility of things that we don't fully understand, we haven't fully figured out, because in North America particularly, and maybe our tradition, the way we look at it, we want everything done and dusted. I know you mentioned earlier that after this podcast, you're going to be doing some sort of meditation from a Buddhist perspective. I think you mentioned.
Yep.
Again, I don't know the practice of Buddhism well, but again, I think so much of these experiences that we don't necessarily tuck into in North America is problematic, because we need to awaken ourselves to your point. We are energy beings, we're spiritual beings, we're having this experience, and we get so locked down into the physicality of our world and our limitations. But we were created for greatness. We were created to do amazing things. And so many of us have sold out the hope of that for survival, frankly.
And we're not taught generally, at least in this Western culture, to question that, to
Correct.
look deeper generally, until you meet some people and or circumstances present themselves, and all depending on how you choose to receive it. So I love that idea of just being open to what if. It's that growth mindset as opposed to the fixed mindset. If you want to
Yep.
go back to the what Carol Dweck's
Yep.
strategy of that, right? So, okay, well, what if? I'm not saying you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, but let's just explore the possibility of this and without judgment. And that's been one of my I would say mantras, but it's just been how I try to go through life for the last several years now, and it's been so amazing. My brother-in-law, he's now a practicing Buddhist. He entered the stream, as it's called, last month. And so it was so cool to see him do that and see over the last 2 years, 3 years, practicing and becoming becoming a Buddhist and deciding to go all in with the precepts and such. And so I've studied Buddhism a little bit, not to the degree he has, but I'm
Right.
going, oh, well, what if? What if this is it? And what I love about Buddhist teachings and any of more Eastern cultures, religions, and Buddhism's not a religion, but whatever.
Right.
That style of it is just the openness. Like I love hearing when a speaker or a teacher, great teacher says, "You don't have to take my word for it. Question it. See if it's true for you." And I hope that everything that you're hearing from me, if you all follow me or do whatever, or Tim or whoever, don't just take it verbatim. Please never take it verbatim. Just see how it resonates and works with you. Is it true for you? Does it align with you? Test it out.
Yeah.
If it works for you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, great. No
Yeah.
harm, no foul.
Well, and I love that idea. I think, I believe that we need to become much more comfortable with experimentation and becoming scientists in our mindset. Adam Grant's book, Think Again, is a really great book around that whole idea from a business perspective, life perspective. But, if we were really thinking as scientists, we would have an hypothesis and we would test it, and we then would allow the experiment to change our hypothesis.
Mm,
We would not change the experiment or its outcome to fit our hypothesis. We would evolve our hypothesis. And I do think that we've lost the ability to do that for some reason in our world and in our worldview. Again, we seek certainty. We live in very uncertain times. Humans have always lived in uncertain times, but we try to normalize our world through finding certainty, which is a bit of a fallacy. But it is a really powerful journey, and I love what you're doing, from a business perspective and how you're working with leaders and how you're working with individuals. But I want to ask you about something else. Sort of,
yep,
it's similar. It's similar to what we're talking about, but it's a bit of a departure. So, the one thing you do that see you post online, which I just really love, is you go out into your community. It seems your community or a bunch of communities, I don't know,
yep,
and you got a microphone on a stick, sort of, it's like a wand. You got a microphone on a stick, and it seems like, unless this is a setup, Spencer, and I don't know, it seems like you go up to random people and you ask them questions. And one question you were asking people is, what brings you joy?
mhm,
Um, Tell me about where that idea came to for you, and tell me about how those interchanges feel for you and for the person, because there's something about watching those videos which is so powerful.
yeah.
I love them.
I Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you love them. I love recording them and making those happen. No, that's not a setup or anything like that. I am walking up to total strangers. It's currently in the city that I live in. We're recording more tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and we're going to a neighboring city. But I don't almost all but one of the people, no, two of the people I knew. And that was it. And that's because they were out on the street and I just asked them a question of what brings you joy. And so that I got the idea. The street style interviews have been going on since I think the 50s or 40s, 1940s, 1950s, where that street style interview came in. But I was inspired by it from Simon Squibb, who goes and asks, "What's your dream?" And so he walks around and does it all around the world. What's your dream? What's your dream? And people answer, and he helps them with it. Great. For me, I was like, well, I like that idea, but I don't want to do what's your dream. So, what aligns with us in our business? Well, what brings you joy? Because why not have more awareness of what brings us joy? And so, be upfront and honest, I was scared at first to do it because I'm like, I don't know what people are going to say. Are they just going to reject me? I see Simon post videos at points of people saying, oh, no, thank you, and moving on. He's cordial about it. I'm like, okay, we've interviewed 40 some people, I'd say. I don't have the exact number, but 40 some people. Two people have said no. And that's only because they were already booking it when I was asking them and weren't interested. So I'm like, that's a pretty good percentage so far. What is that, like 0.5% or something? Said no. Like Okay, that's cool. So I just, yeah, walk up, "Hey, can I excuse me, can I ask you a question?" "Yeah, sure. Okay, what brings you joy?" And it's so fun to see people think about it. Some people come up with answers really quickly. Some
Yeah.
people take a little more time to think about it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fun, and I always like challenging people once they come up with an answer, especially those that come up with it quickly. A lot of people say, "Oh, God, family, and their kids
Yeah.
bring them joy," which are beautiful things. And I'm not degrading that or boo booing it at all. But let's go deeper. What
Yeah.
about that brings you joy? What else brings
Mhm.
you joy? And joy and happiness are two different things. But
Yeah.
joy for me is what how I describe it is what makes your heart smile, like just swell with love and joy, and almost like it wants to sing. And so what? So let me ask this, Tim. What brings you joy?
That's a great question. So I'm just gonna okay, so I'll tell you, you know what gives me joy is not knowing and having to figure it out.
Hmm.
There's nothing more for me, like, when you ask me that question, uh, that's what comes to my mind. I love going back to that perplexion. I love going, "I don't know, but let me try to figure it out." I don't know how to fix that, but let me try to figure it out. I don't know how to do that, but let me figure it out. There's something so joyous for me in admitting I don't know and then learning something new. That gives me joy. That energizes me. That fills me with some power from some other place. That's what gives me joy.
I love, love, love that answer, and I've never heard anyone answer that way before. So kudos to you, and also kudos to you for being open and sharing that. Most people don't like that uncertainty, as we've talked about earlier, as you mentioned earlier, that we like the certainty and knowing. Matter of fact, and you're like, no, I'm good not knowing, but I want to learn it. So you're this natural learner at heart. Now, let me ask you the follow up question to
Yeah.
that, and that is, how can you experience more of that kind of joy in your life?
Oh, that's a great question. I would have to expose myself to more situations in which my knowledge was limited.
How could you do that?
Try things, expose myself, and put myself in places where I'm unfamiliar and uncomfortable.
Right. So it'd be going into different groups that you're like,
Mhm.
I'm not used to this, reading books that are in a different genre
Correct.
than you're used to, a podcast, whatever.
Correct.
So many different ways. And you don't have to do it out in public. You might want to, but other people might not for those
Yep.
people who want to expand that way. But there's so many ways. But don't just stop. Oh, this brings me joy. Okay,
Right.
cool. Go deeper. How can you experience more of that? What does that look like? How does that feel for you? And start peeling that onion
That
and having fun with it.
that's powerful. So, anyways, guys, if you're listening in, you pause the podcast, ask yourself this question: What gives you joy? Go and answer that. Go figure that out. And then, how do you get more of it? Great questions. So, hold on. Let me turn the mic on you here. What gives Spencer joy?
What I'll share the 2 of the bigger ones for me, because there's many things that bring me joy. 2 of the bigger ones is seeing people get energized, like that aha moment, that light bulb moment of like, "Oh, that makes sense," right? That just instantly brings me a smile, warms my heart up. And the second one, I think this goes for a lot of people, but the second one is knowing that I'm loved and cared about. Like, I feel
Mm,
that love, uh, being shared. Like, that to me is it just makes my heart swell with love. I was recording a reel earlier describing the difference between happiness and joy. And the analogy, I don't know why I didn't think of this analogy before today, but all of a sudden it struck me. And that was happiness is, oh, someone's throwing me a birthday party. I'm happy that it's my birthday. I'm happy they're throwing me a party. Like, that's fun. It makes me happy. It's shorter, it's fleeting. Joy, on the other hand, is someone cared enough about me to throw me a party, to the
mm,
people here love me, and I'm grateful for that. Same setting for the most part, but two different emotions.
yeah. No, I love it, and it's brilliant, and I really love watching those clips, and keep putting that out in the world, please. That'd be good. And what would also bring me joy is if I had hair like you. So, dude, come on. This
Well, thank you.
seriously. How did you perfect the locks, baby?
Oh
Come on.
my gosh, it's been years figuring this out.
Jeez.
It's been a journey with the hair. So I started off with like just shaggy hair growing up, short and shaggy as a kid. Um, Junior year, grew it out for the first time. I'm like, I like long. I was dressed as a hippie, right? Feeding with my friends, so they had long hair. Then I started growing it out. Loved it, and then I was told I need to be professional looking for jobs, right? And so okay, I it was so hard. It was shorter than it is now. It's long now, longer now than where it was, but anyway, so I got to cut slowly up until I was teaching. Then it was short for the most part as I was teaching. And then my last year, I knew I was on my way out. I'm like, this is my last year doing this. I'm going to be a full time entrepreneur. I'm like, I'm going to grow it out. So I got my hair cut in August. School started shortly after, and then let my hair grew out. And I've got a couple trims here or there, but it's been 6.5 years at this point now.
Well, all
Just
I'm going to
growing
tell
it.
you is that I will say that there's another J word that comes to mind when I see your hair, and that's jealous. Okay, so it's not joy. I just jealous. I'm a little jealous of your hair because it's like your power. It's like I love it, and I do love the fact that again, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, it's like the tale of two T-shirts here. You know, I got a black T-shirt on. You know, I go like black. Black is slimming. Like, I like that. Dude, and you're like, I love your style. You're wearing it. It's got color. You're it's like, hey, this is energetic. Everything you do, it's got this energy to it, Spencer, and I absolutely love it. And because it's not just a brand thing. And again, I think sometimes you meet people online, you see them, and you see, oh, that's their stick. Okay,
Mhm.
what I love about that for when I encounter you and I watch you and I listen to you online, and now that we've had a chance to connect a bit, what I love about this isn't just about a brand. This isn't just your stick. This is how you want to show up. This is who you are intuitively and intrinsically, who you were created to be, and you're bringing that into the world, which is awesome. So let me ask you, we're going to bring this for a landing here. If people wanted to find Spencer, first of all, how do they find you in your world to connect with you personally or professionally, and then tuck into your world and maybe come to one of your boot camps and just get
Yeah.
really plugged into what you're doing?
Um, well, first, thank you. Thank you for the kind words about the energy and the clothes, all that. You didn't ask me to comment on it, but I'm going to, because it's something that I just want to be really upfront with everybody here, especially since you're just being open, honest. It's very intentional the way I dress, right? And so before, for many years, it would be, well, what fits best? Yes, it's me. I'm always a little louder, a little more energized. Always have been, but what fits best here? What fits best here? When I became a full-time entrepreneur, I joined a chamber, and then we're doing business after hours. I'm asking like, what the heck do I wear? I see people all dressed up in pictures for this. Like, what do I wear? I just want to wear a t-shirt. And so I like crazy suits, so the big bright colored suits. So I wore one of those, and then that slowly became my shtick, and I love wearing them for speaking and stuff. But but I was questioning like, oh, what do I wear? Do I wear a t-shirt? Then I saw this one guy wearing a t-shirt, jeans at this thing, and I asked him, he's like, just be you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, this is the stuff I'm teaching. I know this. And so it's been funny. And now even as we've shifted our focuses and we work with individuals, we also work with companies. I'm like, well, should I dress up more, do things? And I'm like, no, this is me. Bright colors, it's tie-dye, it's whatever, long hair. Like you get me. And if you don't like me, that's cool. Then I won't be the fit. But if you do, beautiful. But be you. So I'm very intentional about what I wear now
Yeah.
in the sense that I'm intentional that it's me, my
Yeah.
authentic self showing as best as I can, anytime. And so I invite everybody listening, watching, do the same thing to what you're drinking, to what you're wearing. Still try different things. Don't just get hold into your comfort zone, but be you. And so if you want help being you and getting rid of those energy leaks, vampires, check out and see what we do. You can go to our website, which is wearejonesin4.com, wearejonesin4.com, and you can see all the stuff we do. You can learn more about us and all that and see if it aligns with you. If it does, cool, let's chat. You can move closer. We have a community and whatever. If it doesn't, that's cool too. I'm just grateful that you're here listening.
Awesome. Spencer, thanks for sharing space today and just having this conversation. Really appreciate you as a person and what you're doing and the message that you're bringing to the world around you. It's a really important message at a really important time in our countries and in our communities. And I do really believe that you're onto something. You're tapping into something that's really powerful. You're bringing the power of that authentic expression of who you are, and I really have a lot of respect and appreciation for that. And so I'm going to give you the last word. If you could give one parting word to the people that are still with us, because sometimes people aren't still with us, but those who are still with us, you're here for a reason. I always say, Spencer, if you could say one thing to them today that you think is important for them to hear as we finish up, what would that one thing be?
First, thank you so much for having me. I'm incredibly grateful. And to everyone who made it, I didn't scare you away. You are, and even the people I scared away, they are this too. But you get to hear this. You are amazing. You are worthy. You are enough just the way you are. You don't have to do anything, change anything, or prove anything to anyone because you are amazing, worthy, and enough.
Awesome. I have nothing else to say on my part. Listen, do me a favor, email me at tim@uncommodified.com or DM me and let me know how you're uncorking, like we uncork this conversation, how you uncorking these things into your world for the positive benefit of yourself and others. Thanks you very much. Cheers. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Spencer.